All right, so this is Liz's sales page. So for those of you who have watched us do a page build in the past, you'll know that you'll remember that one of the first things that I do is I take a look at the sales page that you're using, and then, kind of generally we'll take a look and see, okay, of those or of the templates that we have, which do I think would make the most sense in terms of uh, making it fit um, with your brand. Because what we're always looking for is the ability for the dashboard and the event sales page to have a similar look and feel. Um, because we don't want somebody to buy a ticket and then feel as though they're going to a completely different event when they wind up on the dashboard. So that's the starting point. Now, Liz has, inside of her organization, created the horticulture event already, and as a starting point, selected the cards template. Now, my gut is actually to use the Lefty template for this, although I like the cards template. I think that's perfectly fine. I kind of feel like I want to use the cards template if you're okay with, or the Lefty template if you're okay with it.
I'm fine. Thank you.
Okay. So, and just let me tell you the reason why. So first off, if we take a look at the sample dashboards for both of them, you'll notice that the cards template is heavily image driven up at the top. And while on your sales page, you have some images as background, like this one here, as well as this one here. And there's another one further down. There's this guy here, which is looks like a bunch of plants. There's this guy as well. My gut is that those images will look better kind of like this style with, the top area still being heavily image driven, but with a heavy color overlay, similar to what you've got going on here, rather than the cards template, because the cards template, the image is full screen and a little bit more dominant. So
again, that we can have that picture of Shane in the field behind there, though, the same way as on the sales page.
We could. So if we were going to do that, we'd go into global styles and we would bring in the image that you're referring to. And then we would probably, I don't remember if the color overlay in this particular area, I don't remember if this goes over top or not. So we're about to find out. It sounds to me, based on that comment, that that's what you'd like. So let's do it.
Well, I think it would make it uniform. Like with this page, that's what it was like from one.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so give me 1 second. I need to pull the colors. You don't have your hex codes for the colors that you use?
I do, yes. So that dark green. Oh, I can drop it in.
I mean, I found one that's pretty close. So that's probably pretty high. Let's see if that actually does it. Yep, there we go. Okay. Now, there is another side to this, which is the header area. In order to see the top of his head, needs a little bit of work. So I'm going to first off make sure that the anchor for the background image is the top. So at some point we do actually see the top of his head, and it's not just from the mouth down. It's a weird shot. And then do you have a white version of your event logo by chance?
Yeah. Do you want a stacked one or a longer one?
Horizontal. So the same logo that you have here, but a white version of that same logo, ideally. Oops. Perfect. So I'm going to take that logo and upload it here. Use the size. This, while it says pixels, technically that's actually percent. So that is where I would start. The other thing that I would want to do on this side over here is change the icon color of the menu to be white instead of blue, and then probably use the same dark green as the background for the menu itself. So there we go. All right. So now we're at a starting point. Next thing I'm going to go in is change the welcome message text to be white. I'm going to leave that for you to update to whatever you want, but at least that way the styling is there. We can also take a quick look at what this font is and see. Do you happen to know what that font is off the top of your head?
Not off the top of my head. Sorry, I can find out.
So I'm not 100% sure what that font is, and if it's not a Google font, it won't matter much.
It may be a font from Wix.
Pardon me?
It may be a font from Wix because that's where it's built.
Yeah. So we're going to want to, once we figure out what the name of the font is, we're probably going to want to double check to see if there is a comparable Google font. But if you once you get the name, let me know.
So I dropped him in the chat.
That looks pretty right, actually. But it's still loading.
At the baby step. All right, so I'm going to use Railway just based on that information. Okay, and then I'm going to create a button for the main stage. And we have two options from a color perspective. I think I'm going to use, but like my gut is to use the yellow, but we technically could use the yellow or this green because both could be buttons that are decent, have decent contrast. I'm going to stick with the yellow though.
Yeah, I think the yellow.
So, and black. slider that and click save. Next up, I do think you have a border on that. That is white. So again, just to match, add a small border on this as well. And then I'm going to go into the main nav settings. I'm going to reduce the border radius because your buttons are also, for the most part, square. So you can see how that looks just as a starting point.
Mm-hmm.
From here,
extra buttons to that.
You have two options. You can just copy buttons,
yep.
and it'll maintain the style, or you just click new buttons and keep adding them.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Do you have something that you're going to be linking to that you're aware of already?
No, but we were thinking we might have like a help desk.
Okay, and that would be like a like another Zoom room.
Yeah.
Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah.
Got it. Cool. And you want that here? This is how I would do that in my case. So, there you go. For some reason, the text to me feels like it should be different color. It's not right either. This. All right, so basically what I'm doing is creating a hover color for the buttons. So the text changes when you hover over it, similar to what your buttons do as well. And while we're here, I'm going to go in and create a main stage area, and also create a help desk area and point those buttons to those areas. Do you have a welcome letter of some sort for your blog post, or like for the blog? What are you thinking of for the sidebar area? Do you have downloads that you're going to be that you have for your event, or any other resources that you want to put in the sidebar down below?
Yeah, we probably need a resource area.
Okay.
I don't have a letter yet.
Yep. So I'm going to edit the sidebar as a starting point, and we're going to change the background color to match. I'm kind of thinking the lighter green down there. Does that work for you?
Yep. You want me to just give you the number?
No, I've got it. All right, so background color, that. Typography, probably white. That's what I'm thinking. Header color, do that to kind of give it the illusion. And background border. There. Okay. So we've got our sidebar over here. Then I'm just going to put a blog post, put the welcome to the event, and then grab some lorem ipsum text for you to add to that at some point in the future. The one that actually works. So I really care about the history of it. Just give me a generator.
You can just go ... I'll fill it in.
I like to see how it looks, which is why I generally try and put some text on it. There we go.
You could just go to the Obvio site and
yeah, I could do that. Yeah, thanks for that. Okay, go click save. Then I'm going to go in and edit blog post styles. I'm going to change my blog title text to be a little bit bigger and also be the same railway font that we're using up top. Okay. Now add an item, resources, change this to say downloads. Below are downloadable resources to help.
Can I add those resources in at different times?
You can, yep, you can. And the other thing that you can do is, so I'm just going to add, so you can add files and just drag them here, but you can also add links. So I'm going to add a link to Facebook. And you can add icons based on whatever, well, same way you can in other areas. And then what you can do is you can enable or disable them. So in the editor, you can go through and create all of the resources that you're going to have over the course of your event, but then enable them or disable them at specific times.
That'd be great.
So, and that's simply by hovering over the resource itself, clicking on the gear, and clicking disabled. And now when you preview it, there's nothing there, right? The section is there, but there's nothing to actually, there's nothing that actually is shown.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Yeah, and you can do that with entire sections, in fact, right? So if you wanted to hide the entire resources section, you could. You can do that with blog posts. You can do that with buttons. There's all sorts of things that you can, well, pretty much everything on the platform you can do that with. You can create it. You can also disable it. I'm going to enable the speaker section. And we're also going to, oh shit. That's unfortunate. It's going to cause an issue on the actual dashboard. Yeah. All right. That's
Can you just move down?
Pardon me?
Can you just, like, we move the picture all the way to the top? Can you just move it all the way to the down, like all the way to the bottom?
You mean anchor it to the bottom? Then it'll hide his head entirely. So the issue is that this is more of a bug than it is something that's your fault. So we'll I'm going to give this to the team to work on. But essentially, we should have a different header section or header config for subpages. We'll get on that. Okay, so the other thing I generally do is I'll pull your bios and add that to the speakers area. So add speaker, hover over, and then paste that in. And you can adjust that if you want it to be a little different. Make sure that I don't mix up the spelling. Long image. Bigger and save. And then similar to your posts, we can pull that text and bring that in here. There, like that. Speaker. Okay, and then over, paste, oops. It's that. And image also goes here. Save that. And you can mirror this as well in that same area. Save. And now on your home page, you're getting there. We have your hosts right there. That'll take you over there. And then the other thing I wanted to do.
Sorry, can we have the sponsor page activated as well, please?
Yeah, that's something that you can do at any time just by toggling it on.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, it's super easy. Like this stuff is, once the framework is there, it's just turn it on, turn it off. And that's true of the FAQ page, the Zoom backgrounds page, any of those additional pages.
Okay, cool.
And if at any step of the way you have, any challenges, that's what we're here to support you with. So I'm also going to add a area for you to add a simple event agenda if you want to.
Yep.
Agenda below is an outline of the event agenda. Remember, this is a live event, so sometimes times shift. And you can, of course, adjust that to be what you want it to be. But then you just add an event agenda, day 1. What's your first day?
The 13th of June.
Okay, timing?
It's at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Okay. AM?
Yep.
Great. And what time does it end on that first day?
I think about 11 o'clock.
Okay, perfect. And then click save.
Okay, cool.
So, yeah, and then you can add days 2 and 3 and so on and so forth. All right, the last thing that I'm going to do is pop into this. Can we change that? I don't remember if I can change that particular background here, which is enabled. And good, and I can also do that. So same idea. So we always adjust the login page just in case. You're ideally going to want to be sending people to their magic link, but on the off chance that somebody finds their way to the login page, we always do style that as well.
Okay.
Welcome to the event. Save, and then here I also change this stuff. Border radius, change that to 0, and width that.
So if they fill in their information here, like they've accidentally for some reason got here, where does that send them?
It sends them to the dashboard. It's a login page.
But if they had to buy a ticket to get into this event,
then they should go to the sales page. There's no reason for them to have gotten to this page. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we're gonna put that at 0 and change that. You can, is this a paid event or is it a free event? Remind me.
Yeah. It's a paid event.
Okay, got it. You can create a sign up page on the event, but it's really only intended for free events, so that wouldn't do you very much good. The other thing I would do, are you planning on doing a waiver or tech check step?
Yes.
You are?
Yeah.
Okay, great. And are both or
No.
just one?
No, both.
Okay, great. Okay. So, and are you planning on doing an intake form with questions or, pardon me?
Yes, please.
Okay, great. Width, there we go. Wait, taller. Actually, I'm gonna make these buttons yellow, don't I? Yeah. Um, okay, so to make the changes to the make changes to the waiver step or to the waiver itself, you hover over the waiver, click the gear, and this is where you would paste in your waiver.
Okay. No. Yep.
And I'm going to, for the intake form, I'm going to go for the questions. I'm going to go to forms. I'm going to create a new form, and I'm going to call it waiver step. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say submitted. This stuff doesn't matter on the waiver step because the attendee won't see it. Required. And then I'm going to add a question for you that is radio button question 1 and call it radio 1 and add a few options. You just come in when you know what this stuff is and update it. You can add additional questions if you want. I'm going to just go up to the top and click save and pop over to the waiver step and select that particular form.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to go to the dashboard and update my blog post colors to basically all be black because that's where label text, input border color, input border, input color there, helper text, that stuff doesn't matter for that particular one. Now when I go to the waiver step, my colors are the right color. Okay. We're going to enable it. Preview. Okay, so then we're going to go in here, check in step 1. And I'm going to change this to be the green. Actually, I think that will look better if it's the other green, the lighter one. Is that one? Yeah, there we go. And then I'm going to change the icon color to also be the lighter green. And then we're going to go to tech check. We're going to enable that. And then go into Zoom areas. How many people are you thinking you're going to have for your event?
50.
Okay. And how many people are you going to have do tech check? Just my guess is just 1, 2. Okay, great. So we'll have a room for each of your tech check operators. Then we'll go to tech check, make sure that the tech check step is selected. And then I'm going to modify this to be the right color, which is yellow. Go. Change our text color and adjust the height of this to match and change the width. You're going to want a little bit of detail about the check-in step on this page. And again, anything on the dashboard, can be easily modified just by hovering over it, clicking the gear, editing the text, and clicking save.
Okay, great.
So all of that stuff can be adjusted by you. Then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into settings for your event, and I'm going to turn on allow email only login. The reason for that is on the actual login page itself, I want people to not need a password if an attendee gets there. I want them to be able to just enter in their email address and have that be enough to get them into the event.
How do I, what if I've got 2 people that want to use the same email?
You don't have that.
That can't happen?
No.
So it'll just say, no, sorry, you're out.
I mean, it'll allow them to log in, but only one of them will be able to get into Zoom.
Okay.
So,
yep,
yeah. I mean, unless that's something that you really, really want, which I wouldn't recommend, but there is an option to turn that safety feature off, essentially.
Yeah. No, I didn't want that. I just don't want, like, if you buy a ticket, it's one person per ticket, right? So
it is, yeah. Now it's multiple people per dashboard. Like if 1,000 people got the email address of an attendee, they would all be able to get onto the dashboard, but only one of them would be able to get into Zoom. Okay. So we don't limit access to the dashboard by, in terms of the number of logins. The main reason for that is you may get somebody who wants to log into Zoom on their computer, but log into the dashboard on their phone or whatever. Yeah. So one of the last things that I do when I'm building a dashboard is I check to see how it looks as an attendee, because the preview pages are great, or the preview setting is great, but it's important to really look at it as an attendee. So how you do that is just creating an attendee and going in and logging in as that attendee. This is going to be what the attendee sees the first time they log in. So first off, we're going to see what's it called? The first thing we're going to see is the waiver step. And then once the waiver step is signed, then we'll see the tech check step. And then I'll need to bypass that because I want to see the actual dashboard itself.
Okay, great.
So give me a moment. Okay, so sorry, let me share my screen. So this is the waiver step. Click the checkbox. So one of the things that I'm noticing on this page, this yellow is as a checkbox is hard to see. So I'm going to go back to the waiver step, hover over that, and change the color of that to be the light green, because I think that'll be easier to see. Yeah, that's better. Now that's not going to change right here, right now, but it will change within a couple of minutes. So I'm going to pick option 1, and then I'm going to sign it and click next step. And this here, if I click complete my check-in, that'll take me into Zoom. But because there's nobody there to check me in, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the attendee that I created, and I'm going to click this little check-in button.
Yeah.
And once I do, the actual check-in page will get refreshed, and it will send me up on the dashboard itself. So it'll send me over to the dashboard. And now I've got essentially a quick look at what this looks like as of right now.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And then if I can click on your hosts, double check to make sure that looks the way intended. Go back to main. Yeah, I'm not sure about that white on the hover. I actually think that I kind of want to make it just a dark gray. So I'm going to take the main color and just lighten it up a little bit. I think that's going to be better than that.
Okay.
Hey, Blue, on their sales page, when they rolled over the buttons, it turns the background to white and just leaves the text black.
Yeah, I know. I don't really like that, so I'm not.
Okay. I wasn't sure.
You can do that. No, I saw that. I mean, we can do that. You know, you can actually change the, you can change the hover color to just be white, and then not change. So, to Justin's point, not change the text color and just have it do that.
Yeah.
So you can do that if you want. And
Okay.
you know, in the end, it's your dashboard, so I don't have ownership over that decision. But that's what that would look like. That's actually not bad.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Any changes, or are you good with that as a starting point?
I think that's great as a starting point. Thanks very much.
You're welcome.
So,
And then the last thing that I usually do is I'm going to click log out and just double check to make sure that the actual login page itself looks the way I want it to. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that.
So in regards to that picture of Shane in the background, and that bar that sort of sits over the top of his head, how would we fix that?
You would not fix that. That's going to be something that we have to fix. Because what's going on right now is here. If what's happening is on the main page, in order to, like on the actual dashboard, in order to get it to look like this, which is what you want, you have to eliminate the header background color. But on the subsequent pages, the speakers, the sponsors, the header continues to exist.
Okay.
And the header background color needs to be in position in order for that not to look wonky.
Yeah.
So what we need to do is we need to disconnect those settings. So that's going to be something that we have to do programmatically, just essentially make a change to the platform. And hopefully we'll be able to make that change before, definitely before your event takes place in June. But I'll just say by early next week, we should be able to make that change.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm going to make one other change, which is, go ahead.
One thing I would change is on that login page, it still says first time here and something about the password, but you don't have the password enabled any longer.
Oh, sorry, that color was off. Deleted. Actually, you know what? What I would do here is I would say enter the email address you registered for the event with above to log in. There we go.
What about the sign up? What's the actual sign up?
The sign up actually doesn't actually show. Like when you preview, it's gone.
Okay.
So the sign up link only shows up if the sign up page is enabled, which it's not. So when you preview it, it's not there. And actually, when you go to the main page, it's not there either.
Can you center that text, or that's just only one way?
You can't.
Okay.
Not, yeah. There's some things that you can do, some things that you can't, and the styling on that particular, you're talking about the helper text, the login information.
Yep.
Yeah, as of right now, you can't. You may be able to do it with some CSS inside of scripts, but just natively, no, you can't do that.
Okay, no worries. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.